Good morning, my dear friends, brothers and sisters. I'm Dr. Rakesh, and today I'm with you to speak about another topic. So, what is that topic about? Especially if we look into this part of the year, the phase between switching over from quarter 1 to quarter 2 of every year, there will be something which is happening in everyone's life. What is that? Because for the past 15 days, when I'm speaking to so many people, I'm able to listen to only one thing, the common topic of discussion at this time of the year, the meeting. Okay, let me explain what meeting I'm speaking about. This is the time of the year where we discuss about bonuses, our increments, and also when you are a parent like me, parent teachers meeting, right? This happens in everyone's life. Parent teachers meeting, meeting with our bosses or their bosses, and discussing about our outputs for the last year and inputs for the coming year. So if we go deep dive into this matter, what most of the people were speaking to me was, let's come to the school first. PTM, parent teachers meeting. If we see nowadays, most of the teachers and parents think that their children are becoming more and more sensitive compared to the last decade, or even the last generation, or the generation before that, and even before that. It means that we are becoming sensitive, so the person who is giving the inputs, the feedback, is becoming also more sensitive of what he is saying or she is saying. Most of the time, because I too attend so many PTMs and listen from my friends, most of the time the teachers are saying, the principal, the HOD, or the professors, they keep telling about academics are not so important. Academics itself is not life. Do we really need to agree with this? Because as per the dictionary, if we see, academics means something related to education or the scholarships. Or if you go take it as a noun, academics means one who is pursuing education. So we spend a humongous amount of time in our life. If we live for 80 years, in that 80 years, almost somewhere around 15 to 18 years we are spending on this education, the formal education. From today, even at the age of 1.5 or 2 years, the playgroup starts. Playgroup, nursery, LKG, UKG. So 4 years, then 10 years of schooling, 2 years of pre-university, and 3, 4, 5, 6 of university, and sometimes post-graduation also. So if we look into it, it might count to more than 20 years of education. So why are we all saying academics is not so important? Academics itself is not life. Then why are we going to college and school for? Is it giving a sense to the student that even if I don't read, write, or learn, is it okay? I think that shouldn't be the approach, that shouldn't be the thought. Maybe we have created a template, and the template is being circulated to everyone around the world, and everyone is speaking the same lines. This, in the psychological terms, we call it as modeling and mirroring. We look at the model and we mirror it. Or in common parlance, we can say monkey see, monkey do. So what we see, what we hear, and we keep repeating the same thing again and again, whether it makes sense or not, so many times. So, if academics itself is not everything, so what else are the parts of everything? So, in simple mathematics formula, I can ask like everything minus academics is what? Okay, we can say games, we can say playfulness, we can say other activities, we can say other soft skills. So it means that academics plus all these things forms everything, and not like if you leave out the academics you will become everything. See, we have to understand that physical exercise is important. At the same time, fun is also important, and at the same time academics is also important. If academics or education is not important, look at so many celebrities, stars, politicians, or even these sports personalities, those who didn't get the time to complete their education. After becoming successful in their own passion and interests, they'll start their education again, maybe to have a hold on the English or any other language, or maybe to learn something which keeps them young and which keeps them open to the new things which they see, which they grasp, which they hear. So we should stop saying that academics isn't everything. We have to say, along with academics, we are doing all this, very good, but do academics also. See, let's say if I read something for 10 times, I'm not understanding it, I'm leaving it. Still, it makes sense. But my recommendation would be, if you read for 10 times, if you are not understanding, go to the teacher. That will give you the openness to learn. And when you go into the job or business, or if you are in deep turmoil, your attitude towards life will be, if I'm doing something like this, it's not happening, so what else I can do? That's something called as out of the box thinking, right? No, we aren't here to say or the brand something whether it works or not work. To say that machines will also be capable. Where the human capability will evolve, will come into picture is, if something is not working like this, so what way can we do to make it work? So that's called creativity. And World Economic Forum says that creativity will is number one among all the skills. And believe me, my friends, today most of the organizations are paying you not for the manual labor which we keep doing every day in and day out, but it's for the improvement what we can bring about. Right? So, in parent teachers meeting, whenever the child is not studying well, what the most of the teachers say is, it's okay, academics are not isn't everything. No, don't say that. Tell them how can they improve upon the academics. Okay, let's learn few things about the science of learning. They say that there are various ways of learning, and not every child can apply all these 4 5 ways of learning, and no one can learn in one method itself. What I mean to say is, some people prefer reading. They can grasp more knowledge when they read, and some people grasp more knowledge when they listen. Means this particular student is a listener rather than a reader. And there are some students who will understand by seeing visuals. Anything you picturize it, you make them visualize, or you give a vision to them, and they can understand much better. And in some cases, they won't they can't connect themselves, and they cannot learn or retain that knowledge whether by reading or by learning or by visualizing. They will learn things by practical application. We can see so many people like Albert Einstein, Thomas Alva Edison, and many more people. And even our beloved father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi believed that practical application. Only when they practice something, they learnt more. So he told so many people, just don't be with the academic education. Start having practical application of that knowledge also. So you can learn more. So maybe parent-teachers meeting would be more fruitful if this teacher or the person who is giving the feedback can think of what kind of learning attitude does this child possess, so that his academics or her academics can also be inclusive of their life journey during their schooling. And women need not, in the process of bringing about the kind of learning they are acquainted to and what kind of learning they can go around or not go around, we need not discuss about the grading system of you have failed in something, you have passed in something. Okay, it might hurt the feelings of the people, children, and because they are sensitive, and we also feel that they are sensitive, and things go around. What can we say in parent teachers meeting instead of saying it's okay if your child has failed, it's okay your child has not passed, it's okay your child is lacking something, but rather can we put it in something much better way? Okay, I would like to call this as scope of improvement. We may not become perfect in everything, but we always possess the scope of improvement, the potential, what we call. Whether you take the job, business, or as any art, there will be potential, because there is something which I go for it. So, can we discuss in terms of scope of potential? So, how can we discuss things in the scope of potential of a child or of any person? Let's take SWOT analysis into picture now. SWOT, which says that S for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we can apply the scope of potential to in all the 4 areas. Let's see, how can I improve my strengths? For that, for example, my child is studying and her teacher is giving the feedback. If teacher puts, this is your strength and this is what you can bring up with it. If I am a very good speaker, then I could become a very good leader also. Or I can put forth other people's opinion into my words and actions and make it communicable to many of the people. So that will be my scope of improvement. Let's say the weaknesses. What will be the scope of improvement in weaknesses? When a weakness is identified, so we can be given a chance whether that weakness will affect our vision, our dreams of the future. If it's affecting in any way, can we change it? If we can change it, how to change it? And what should be the timelines of changing it? What should be the speed at which we change it? Let me say I want to become a scientist. What will a scientist do? Experiments. When I say experiments, it means that it's bound to fail, it's bound to be successful. So, and at the same time, my weakness is the fear of failure. When I cannot accept the failure, when I cannot digest that failure, and when I cannot get up again to overcome that failure, how can I experiment, and how can I become a scientist? So that is something which has to be addressed. So that will be the scope of improvement in terms of discussing the weaknesses of a child. Let's come to the opportunities. What is the scope of improvement in opportunities? The scope of improvement lies in whether it's right opportunity for me or not to take that decision. Many a times it's very easy to take the decision. For example, if we think about Arjuna, when Dronacharya was having an introductory class to all the Pandavas and Kauravas, he asks one question like, he calls one of the pupil and asks him to look at the bird on the tree, and the question would be like, what are you looking at? So everyone answers vague things, and Arjuna says, I'm looking at the eye of the bird. So the opportunity was equal for everyone, but the view, how they perceived the opportunity, was different for everyone. How can we improve that commitment towards that opportunity? How can we narrow down that opportunity of not looking at the tree or the forest or the branch of the tree or the bird or its legs and wings, or directly looking into the eye of the bird? The keenness of observation. He observed, but the question should be, did he succeed at the first attempt? So when we identify the opportunity also, what we need is a commitment. Do I have that commitment? So that will be the scope of improvement. So how to identify the opportunity, and when I face the failure, how will I stick on to that opportunity until unless it's harmful to me and the people around me. Coming to threats, we all perceive so many threats, and let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, these threats are which are causing stress to us. The threat of losing job causing stress, the threat of not getting bonus, not getting recognition, not getting first rank, not passing, and I can perceive anything as threat. Even I can perceive a locked room as a threat. So the scope of improvement is, how can I come out of that threat? Let me share an example with you. When we were in our preschool, like first standard to third standard, and my sister was 2 years younger than me, we both had fear of darkness. We all have fear of darkness. So my mother was really worried. How can I teach them? Because in those days there was frequent electricity cuts. There was no generators. There was no other equipments where we can totally remove the darkness in our life. So at some time or some instance, there would be lights off and the darkness, and we would be afraid. So what my mother did is, every time when we returned from our tuitions in the evening, so somewhere around 8:30, she used to switch off all the lights and keep it dark. And we used to come inside, and we would search for for our mother, worried about what will happen in the dark. We used to go try going into the home, because we know at certain places a few things are there. Maybe we calculated distance between one thing and the other thing, and we used to search for our mother. First we would go to kitchen, then we would go to bedroom, and then we would go to the veranda. We would see like where my mother was, so that we would become safe when we reach her. When she started doing this again and again, initially we started crying, then we started throwing tantrums, then we started understanding, then we started applying our knowledge. We started recognizing things in the morning, and we started applying those things in the evening. When I grew up, even at 4 o'clock I used to wake up and go to my tuitions. At that time, I'm proud to say that even without switching on the light at 4 o'clock in the morning, I could recognize things. I can perceive things at my home, and I could complete all my activities without switching on, because at that time we used to have only two rooms. One is the living room, where my grandfather, grandmother, and couple of my cousins used to sleep. So I didn't want to disturb them, and my clothes and books would be in the bedroom, where my parents and my sister would be sleeping there. Without disturbing any of them, I used to pick up my clothes, my books, my pen, my bag, everything, and I used to go. and I used to call my grandfather once I'm ready and about to leave home for my tuitions. And they used to praise me for that. But I have to acknowledge that it was my mother's efforts which were put like 10, 12 years ago, which started reaping benefits after so many days. So, I would like to end my talk with this last conclusion points. Try to give the scope of improvement to a child or an employee or a business partner or any customer. What would be the scope of improvement? In improving my strengths, in identifying the weaknesses, and in deciding on the opportunities and to overcome the threats. This would be a more fruitful meetings. Hope I made some sense, and thankful to all my teachers, all my friends, all my colleagues, peers, everyone who gave me this attitude and perception in understanding this, and all the people who shared their experiences in the past 15-20 days. Thank you all. Take care. Bye.